We'll call this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works to order this Tuesday, January 21st. First up, we have the election of officers.
I would like to nominate Kyla Cox-Decker as president.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We need a full slate.
You didn't let us do it one at a time.
You want to let it one at a time?
Oh, I think we've done a full slate in the past, but yeah, let's go one at a time.
Okay.
Works for me.
The prestige of the position,
Right.
really.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up for Vice President, do we have a nomination?
I'm not going to nominate myself.
Oh, I'd like to nominate Beth as Vice President.
Nice second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And next up, we have nominations for Secretary.
I nominate Dana Capozzo, yeah, secretary.
All right,
She's
and
not going to take minutes, but she's going to be secretary. She can have a plate.
she'll be covering the other
Right.
duties. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
This is not good. I can't find my notes.
Oh, we're going to pause for just a second.
My notes.
Was it your claims notes?
Yeah.
Did you give them to, you have your claim, Michael has your claims notes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Next up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board?
Not tonight.
All right. Next is petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who is here this evening to make a public comment on something that is not on the agenda, now is the opportunity to do so. Do we have any public comments on anything not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Next is Title VI enforcement. First is request permission to abate property at 3225 South Walnut Springs Drive.
My name's Dee Wills. I'm a compliance officer for the Housing and Neighborhood Development Department, and I'm here tonight to request permission to abate the property at 3225 South Walnut Springs Drive for trash. This has been an ongoing problem. It's around the dumpster area, and there's always, at times, the trash company will empty the dumpster, but they leave everything else behind. So it's a constant problem. And I started issuing notices of violation on October 14th of 2019, and that was a warning, and then started fines for November 15th, November 20th, December 3rd of 2019, December 11th, and then after coming back from holiday, there was still a mess, so I again ticketed them on December 30th and January 8th. So I'm requesting this to be a continuous abatement because it's a constant problem.
We looked at that in the work session today, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's not as bad today as it's been before.
I just noticed right now that the address is different on like the second page, right after the staff report for this. It lists Jeffrey Jones at 3929. Is that 3929 roll I have? Is
That's
that
the
just-
address of the owner.
Okay, that's his
Yeah,
address.
that's
Got
the
it.
owner.
I move that we approve the request to abate the property at 3225 South Walnut Springs Drive for a continuous abatement.
I'll second.
Do we have any public comment on this? Seeing none, there is a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next is request permission to abate property at 2607 North Walnut Street.
My name's Joe Song. I'm a compliance officer for HAND as well. Congratulations on your posts and your elections. This is a request for permission to abate this property. It's a hotel, used to be a hotel. There's one person living in it, and the trash has been here for some time. And it's not different today than it was 3 weeks ago when I was ticketing it.
You said there's only one person living there?
Yes. But people are dumping there. There used to be a dumpster right there. Now it's been taken away, but people are still putting things there. So I've asked for continuous abatement. It's a similar situation to the previous one.
Is that trash coming from a different area then? Are people just bringing things there and dumping them?
Yes, it's kind of a secluded area, so people know they can just dump things, so
Has the property owner responded at all?
nothing.
And this is a relatively new property owner?
Yes, within the last year.
Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request to abate the property at 2607 North Walnut Street for a continuous abatement.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes from January 7th, 2020. A noise permit request for chocolate prom dance at Harmony School for Friday, February 14th. Approved 2020 service agreement with Groomer Construction and approval of the payroll register. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Do we have any public comment on any items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, under new business, we have Resolution 2020-01, approve encroachment agreement in the public right-of-way at 116 North Grant Street.
Hi, Sarah Gomez, Planning and Transportation Department. We have a request from the property owner, Mr. David Rogers, of 116 North Grant Street, to approve an encroachment for some existing items in the right-of-way, as well as a new addition of a removable deck enclosure. There was a previous approval by the Board of Public Works for the ramp and the deck that are existing in the right-of-way, September 29th, 1998. However, that encroachment was never recorded by the constituent, so we're wrapping everything into one encroachment agreement, including the sign for the Big Woods, the deck, the awning for the deck, the removable enclosure, the bike racks, and stairs as well. The encroachment includes that it will carry over to any new owners of the building. If it's ever demolished, of course, the encroachment agreement would be rescinded, and staff recommends approval of the encroachment agreement.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
You had a question, didn't you? Didn't you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about like the alleyway that's like right next to that, and then the new improvements that we're doing to Kirkwood. I know that's a block away, but didn't know if those would have any effect on what's going on here in any way.
Is that alley being touched by that project?
Sorry, Dana, I didn't get back to your email earlier.
That's okay.
No, the improvements here and the encroachments wouldn't have any impact on the alley or the Kirkwood projects. No issue on our end for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I think it's mostly just those vinyl screens.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this item?
No.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2020-01, approve the encroachment agreement in the public right-of-way at 116 North Grant Street.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next up, we have approved 2020 CE Solutions contract for structural engineering services at Walnut and Morton Street parking garages.
Good evening. Ryan Daly, Public Works, Parking Garages. As part of our 10-year capital improvement plan, we're preparing to do repairs to the Walnut Street Garage and the Morton Street Garage. We are going to be hiring CE Solutions to provide structural engineering advice. design and construction documentation. They're going to be attending our pre-bid meetings, holding our bid meetings, and also attending weekly contractor meetings and walkthroughs of each site. Both of these locations, the Walnut Street Garage, $46,000 for that contract, and $12,600 for the Morton Street Garage for that contract.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
Can you just explain why one is so much higher than the other?
The Walnut Street Garage, there's two specific projects. The first one is the Morton Street Garage. We're finishing up repairs at that location this year. The cost of repairs is roughly around, I believe it's $50,000, $40,000 to $50,000. This requires much less time for the engineer to be on site to inspect the property. Instead of, say, a 4-hour inspection, it's more along the lines of a 30-minute inspection to see what was going to make sure that the property, to make sure that the construction is being done adequately. In addition, there's only 4 walkthroughs of the Morton Street Garage. There are 9 of them over at the Walnut Street Garage. Walnut Street Garage will be spending close to $300,000 in repairs this year. This is going to require a lot more engineering time for them to make sure that all of those repairs are being done as they spec them out.
Thank you.
Questions on these contracts?
No, I haven't.
I'll just add, I can tell you over the last year plus, almost 2 years now, our relationship with CE Solutions has been very strong. They've provided great service. Carrie and her team, whenever we say we need something pretty quickly, they have great turnaround times, and just overall been really satisfied with the work that they've provided and for all of our garages.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve 2020 CE Solutions contract for structural engineering services at Walnut and Morton parking garages.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have approved Evenstime Inc. contract to install and monitor video intercom system at Walnut and Morton Street parking garages.
Ryan Daly, Public Works Parking Garages again. We're going to be looking to install a audio-video intercom system at the Morton and Walnut Street garages this year. This contract is set to scale as we add additional locations. So, for example, when the Trades District adds on, we'll be able to integrate that service into our portfolio as well. This is a 24/7 help desk center, customer service, call service for all of the facilities in the Bloomington parking garages. There's basically 4 benefits that we're looking at. We're going to increase our staff time in the garages by reducing our overnight hours. This allows us to pull back our 3rd shift individual and bring them in more to a 2nd shift, a late 2nd shift. The second one is they're going to increase the speed of our customer transactions. Only 1 staff member can answer a phone call at the same time. With call monitoring, answer as many calls as comes in at the same time. The third is going to allow for multiple interactions of customers. Again, going back to the second one of increasing speed of customer interactions.
Can you, before you move on, how does that work? Like, if somebody's at, like, who would be the multiple people having issues?
Okay, so if somebody's at the Morton Street Garage right now, and they press the assistance button, and somebody's at the Walnut Street Garage, and they press the assistant button, the first call gets the answer.
Okay.
So you may press the help button, and she presses the help button. I answer your phone call, and now she's waiting for 2 minutes while we wrap up and help you out.
Okay.
And it could be even longer depending on what type of interaction that's going on. It might be somebody needs help in a different way, or it could be, how do I do this? And you just walk them through the process. All the while, the other customer at the other garage is waiting for assistance.
Okay.
So this allows for concurrent calls coming in. We have 9 call boxes on all the exits. You can hit all 9 of them, and we'd have answers on every single one of them all at the same time.
Thank you.
Finally, this is going to allow the reduction of staffing hours needed throughout our garages. For example, when we install the Trades District garage as part of our portfolio, we won't need to hire 3 individuals for that location. We would be looking to hire 1 person, maybe 2, depending on usage of the facility, because we just don't need to staff it overnight anymore. We have that covered through call monitoring. Happy to take any other questions.
Questions on this?
When will this be set up?
February.
Oh,
So,
next week?
yeah, it takes a week to install. We'll do a testing run at one of the locations for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll install to the other location.
Okay.
Do we know anyone else locally, like in Indy or anything, that's using Evans time?
IUPUI uses it.
Okay.
I think it's the Henderson Garage at IU has it as well. There are multiple locations in Indianapolis, and they're a multi-state company as well. So there are locations, I believe, in Chicago, New York, Florida.
And I assume we've talked to a couple of them.
A few. Yeah.
So we've been looking into this for some time, and not only staffing benefits and everything else, but it should overall improve that customer service. I mean, by the time the phone call gets in and the customer service person stops the cleaning project they're on or anything else, it's a little, may I say, clunky right now, just in terms of always getting somebody quickly. This will be pretty instantaneous. You'll have a screen with a picture of a person. You'll be able to interact in that way.
Yeah.
I recently got stuck in a parking garage in a large city in Illinois by a lake, and had this very similar service happen. And I couldn't have told you if the person was in a room next to me or a foreign country for that matter. It just worked really well. So something we've been looking at for a while. Even if we do have actual major issues overnight and such, we're still going to have people on call. And, I mean, there will be checks in this. It's not that we just won't have anybody available from our staff. It's more so, like Ryan described, just a better use of our staff and the time that they're there.
Yeah, and that was just something else I was going to reiterate from the work session and the report, is that the staff who are on staff currently remain on staff and continue to do the work that they need to do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They just may be shifting the hours differently.
We'll be pulling those hours back instead of them being in a dead location from 4 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
We're now able to help people on a second shift during our busier hours when they may have one exit during that period of time.
Right, and then the potential with the addition of the Trades District garage, that it means that we don't have to staff it with as many people as we would have had to.
We only need to staff it when we need to staff it, when there are customers in the facility utilizing it. And we can leave it run 24/7 otherwise. And phone assistance is just a push button away.
So it's not only great public service, but also it saves staffing time and money.
Saves staffing time, it saves
money.
our folks from,
Right.
right now, most of the guys that work, most of the folks that work for me right now are, they're maintenance. Most of their job is maintenance, keeping the garages clean.
Good.
Can't be answering phone calls while you're up on a ladder changing a light bulb or painting a wall or something like that. It's not conducive to the type of work that they do. So this will free them up a lot to do.
Where does the money come from for this project?
This is for,
This is part of your 2020 budget. report.
yes, it's in the building repairs line item.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions on this item? All right. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the contract with Evans Time, Inc. to install and monitor video intercom systems at Walnut and Morton parking garages.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up is approve renewal number 1 with SSW Enterprises LLC for annual custodial maintenance and janitorial services.
Good evening. J.D. Borff, Public Works. I'm here tonight to ask the board's permission to renew a contract with SSW Enterprises for our cleaning services at Public Works facilities. We entered into a contract with them in October of 2018. The contract allows for yearly renewals through 2021. And we are requesting a 5% increase in the cost this year. Well, this is at the request of the contractors. Their labor costs due to the city's living wage ordinance have increased almost $9,000 a year, or have increased $9,000 over the last or since 2018. So combined with increased costs for their paper goods and materials, we felt that this was a valid request, and that is allowed in the contract. This is we're very happy with the service this contractor provides, and staff recommends approval of the renewal with the 5% increase.
And you had received a letter explaining why the increase was necessary.
Yes.
Yeah, JD and I talked about this earlier. I knew he had been doing his homework with the company of understanding why, but I definitely wanted to provide some additional documentation as to what it was. I mean, the living wage ordinance increase alone is justification enough, but they...
Yeah, I think they said their paper goods costs have increased 24%. And some of the paper consumables have increased 28%, so their costs.
Okay.
Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve renewal number 1 with SSW Enterprises LLC for annual custodial maintenance and janitorial services.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
Adam Wason, Public Works Director. Just very briefly tonight, want to say thanks to Laurel Cannell for being with us this evening and serving as the Board of Public Works appointee to the Tree Commission. That's been she's done great work for us there, and appreciate her efforts. Want to also bring to the board's attention and the public's attention, we've got just a couple more days of the Christmas tree and wreath pickup, so that'll wrap up on Thursday. If you haven't had your tree picked up yet, they will get, and you're on Wednesday or Thursday route, they'll get those either tomorrow or Thursday. And about all I have tonight. We will be moving forward with several big projects this summer, have some coordination meetings, so at the next meeting we'll be able to update the board on where those projects are headed. So, thank you.
Good.
How's everything at the animal shelter?
Always, there's always animals at the shelter that are looking for their forever homes.
I know.
How's the 17th Street coming along?
17th Street, they've been working throughout the winter, so we've had some decent enough weather that construction projects are ongoing through the winter months. I know they've been pouring driveways up there. They've been continuing the work up on 17th. Winslow and Henderson, same thing, continuing some work down there. Not putting down any asphalt right now, but some concrete work can take place when the temperatures are a little bit higher like they've been. So pretty satisfied with where some of those projects that were wintered out and the continued progress they're having.
Do you think that there'll be an extension of the High Street project with the weather?
So we're hopeful that, High Street down there at Covenanter has been closed for the last probably 7 to 10 days to fix a storm structure underneath the road. That project's ongoing. The latest update from utilities is that they're hoping to be pouring sidewalks Thursday and Friday, weather dependent, and so we should have a better idea towards the end of the week.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I have for you.
All right. Next up is the approval of claims. Do we have questions on the claims?
Okay.
You've got your, okay, great. Any other questions on claims? All right. Do we have a motion on claims?
I move that we approve the claims $855,932.17.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And if we have nothing else, then I will call for adjournment.